I'm Sally Partridge and I've been the lead artist on Stitch the Street, which is a yarn bombing, I guess. Yarn bombing or soft graffitis, covering things, objects in the street, changing them by covering them in colourful pieces of crochet, knitting, wrapping, anything really just to soften the landscape.
Because we were programming along George Street to enliven the Colour Me Brisbane sites, that we wanted some way of, during the day, because most of our programming happened at night due to the lights and the heat, of saying something's happening here, and a way of kind of drawing people along.
Well, the blankets, the people have loved the blankets, definitely, and the Queen was a real success. The other day when I came in and we were taking down her decorations for the last time, not to go back up again, people were still walking past taking photos and smiling. And
again, that had a high level of community engagement, so there were stitch and bitch groups, craft stores, and people actually all around Queensland knitting and crocheting bits and pieces to be installed around the city.
So there's people from Spinners and Weavers and from a knitting shop in Paddington. She got quite involved with the Magistrates Court, Anissa, and that I knew of or had worked with before.
And it's a little bit, I mean, it's in the vein of the yarn bombing, which is kind of like a guerrilla art form, but this was obviously not guerrilla. It was part of the G20 and it had a plan and, you know, approvals from council. So it was kind of taking something that is sometimes a bit more under the radar and putting it front and centre as part of this program.
There's not a lot of control over what you get, and that's what's nice too. Some people want that, but it's kind of nice to just show it, you know, use every piece that you get. And like the kids' art blanket over around that tree, that was Year 7 children from Rainworth State School. There's imperfections, each square's individuals, each child has knitted in their own way, and when all pulled together, it's worked out beautifully.
Crochet is the same. Crochet is it's almost a solitary thing. You do it on your couch at home, you do that. However, as part of Stitch the Street, we had a thank you event for all the crocheters and knitters, and about 70 people were there, all crocheting and knitting together.
Oh, that was the best part, I think. Being able to sort of relax and to craft and to celebrate everybody that came along and who. I know when I craft, I remember most stitches I do, like whether it's consciously or unconsciously. And for all those people to come along and to have brought in pieces they're still making, and just to be able to celebrate what they'd given, because I gave them yarn and they gave me back, you know, bundles of colour. So it's really nice. The sharing part is basically, it's learning and sharing. It's because whatever you share often comes back in learning a different skill. Margaret taught me how to make cord. I'd never learned how to make cord. Like, it's beautiful. But the openness and the want to pass that forward to people is what's beautiful about craft, I think.
Well, one of the other things I like about the use of yarn in all the ways is that it's often seen as a women's, like a craft. It's not seen as an art form, and it's seen as women's work, and it's often diminished. So I do like the idea of that being kind of front and centre and put into a public and saying this is an art form.
There's also that wellness aspect to it as well. So for kids through to older people, there's something therapeutic or just calming or zen in crafting. Yeah. So, but it does. Like, most people who sit down and start even just crocheting a really simple chain will often say, "Hey, this is cool. This is really relaxing." So for that, as well as the sort of the congruence of the conversations that happen while you're crafting, takes away one of the filters, I think. I've found in groups that people will they'll be sitting there crafting and they'll just start talking, and the connections just seem a bit more solid. I think craft connects, so that's probably to sum it up.